Please stop retelling that sad story of how your ex did you wrong, how your mom did you wrong, how whoever did you wrong. Zip it. Because the more you talk about it, the more it takes you back to that place that it happened. How can you move better and navigate better in the future? What can you do to protect yourself and to have strength? How can you stand on business? You are not powerless. You always have options. They may not be the option you want to take. It may not be easy. It may be very difficult and require a lot of your time and energy. I respect those women that were in an abusive relationship. Some of them just left with the clothes on their back and went to a shelter, while others, like myself, we stayed because of financial reasons. Remember, you always have an option when it comes to work, when it comes to people you deal with. You are the pilot of your helicopter, of your plane, of your jet. I don't know. Life isn't fair, but that doesn't mean you still can't win. Just because you may have had a rough childhood or may have a disadvantage physically or mentally doesn't mean that you still can't be great. You might even be late to work. So instead of saying the whole day is ruined, just say, what can you do? How can you make this day great? How can I still manage to somehow hit my goals? Stop blaming others for the choices you have made. The job you chose, the man or woman you chose, the house or neighborhood. Even if someone had a convincing argument, at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to look out for you. Not your mom, not your aunt, your cousin. It's up to you. Instead of focusing on my boss hates me, focus on what can you do to stand out? What can you do to be employee of the month? What can you do to get that magnificent life that you want? Making up excuses will actually get you nowhere except in the same exact position you're in. So instead of making up excuses, use that time and energy to actually work towards your goal. Even if it's only 5 or 10 minutes a day, commit to something realistically that you can stick to and slowly increase over time. Instead of you constantly asking, why me? Ask what's next. What can you do next to make your life better, right? You may have had a patchy love life in the past where you let people walk over you, but set those boundaries. You may have been fat your entire life, but what are you going to do now? Are you going to get a trainer? Are you going to get a meal plan? What are you going to do? You may have had a chaotic family your entire life and know nothing but drama. What are you going to do next? Therapy, healing is there, but it's going to take work. So instead of why me, remember what's next. Never ever confuse your struggle with your identity. Just because you failed a test doesn't mean you're dumb. I failed my driver's test so many times, but I finally got it. That didn't mean I was an idiot, right? You may have had your ass played with one too many times. Now you're saying the next person that come in, they play with me is pow pow. But seriously, don't let one situation define your identity. That doesn't mean you have to become your failure. You cannot control people, but you can control how you respond. You can choose whether you want to flip somebody off in the middle of traffic, throw a bottle at their car and have them chasing at you, or you can choose peace. You can say, you know what, I'm too old to be trying to catch a case. I'm too old to be sending these long paragraphs. I am working on not sending long paragraphs, okay? But it's very hard because sometimes I feel like you need to know. But that's why I'm in therapy. You can't control people and you shouldn't want to control people because sometimes when you actually do persuade that person or force them to do something they don't want to do, guess what? A lot of times they're going to hold animosity towards you and if they have regret later. So just let people be who they are and you decide whether you're going to get jiggy with it or you're not. I'm giving away my age. 91, baby. Your language shapes your reality. So speak life into yourself. Look in the mirror and say, I'm the one. If not me, then who? Speak life into yourself, into your children, into your plants, into your dream. I can do it. I just have to work smarter, not harder. I just have to come up with a game plan to lead me to my victory. Because victory is yours if you want it. Stop comparing and start creating, right? Instead of looking on Instagram for that 15, 20 minutes on that life you wish you had, spend that time working on the life that you want. Even if you're in the restroom, y'all could pull up spreadsheets in the restroom, pull up Google Documents, Microsoft Documents, and get to brainstorming. Get it out your head, get it on paper, and then bring it into your reality. But staring at another person and being jealous, I mean, I've caught myself in the past like thinking, damn, like that person had it so easy. But sometimes we don't know their struggle. Sometimes their journey is not meant for us. And everyone's story is unique to their own. So just embrace yours and spend more time focusing on your own grass and less on your neighbors because that grass might actually be fake. Closure is an inside job. I know you don't want to hear that. But think about how many times a person has went back to their ex looking for closure and they end up on top of something else. So sometimes sometimes it's better to just write yourself a letter and throw it in the trash, or to just accept the disrespect as closure. Accept that your mom or your cousin or whoever is constantly disregarding you. That should be your closure, because you have to choose when you heal. If you keep waiting for closure, you may never get it, because some people, especially people with narcissistic traits, I hate to use that word, they won't give you closure because they want to leave the door open so they can shimmy their ass back in. But don't do it. Give yourself closure and a peace of mind, because you deserve that. Stop giving people your power by expecting and waiting on an apology. Like I said in the last one, sometimes you may not ever get that. It's up to you to decide what you will and will not allow. You shouldn't have to beg anyone to apologize. And remember that an apology without change is actually just manipulation. The victim mentality is really what keeps you stuck. It's not the events that led to you feeling that way, because it's in the past. All you have is right now. So instead of you thinking about how wrong all these people did, you have to find a way to focus on, how can I make today better? How can I make tomorrow better? How can I make my next 6 months better? Even if that really means cutting off someone that you've been so-called friends with. But if that friend's been constantly hurting you, mistreating you, is that really your friend? Is that really your friend? Is that really your friend? Healing is an inner job. Even though someone else hurts you, it's your job to fix you. Even if it comes back from childhood wounds, it's your job to go to therapy. And I know that's very hard to admit, because you feel like you're damaged. You're not damaged. You're repairable, but it may take a lot of work. It was hard for me to admit I needed therapy. I needed a life coach, because sometimes certain communities don't want people to admit they have depression. You don't have no depression. You just need to get your ass up. But sometimes you do need to talk to a professional so that you can get steps and get guidance and get someone to hold you accountable to actually doing the work. You may never find out why someone hurt you, right? They may never tell you the truth. And it's easier to just accept what their actions, what have they shown you. That is what you need to accept, instead of worrying about, why did my mom do this? Why did my ex cheat on me? Why is my boss an asshole? Accept, and then decide, how are you going to move forward? Because there are people who spend their entire life trying to figure out, why did my dad leave me? Why did my mom abuse me? Why don't they love me? Sometimes people are incapable of giving you things that you deserve. Sometimes they don't know how, and you have to stop trying to figure out the Rubik's Cube. You have to stop trying to figure out the puzzle. At first, it's going to be very hard to get rid of the victim mindset, but you have to just try to catch yourself, right? If it rains and you say, wow, I really want to go to the beach today, just say, I can take this day to read a book. I can take this day to deep clean. I can take this day to journal, to do yoga. I can still make the most of today. I don't have to let anything outside of me determine my happiness. Accountability equals freedom, right? Instead of you saying, I was born poor, that's why I'm poor, maybe you could say, I actually overspent this month on fast food, on clothes. I would have had more money saved. I would be able to save more if I spent less money on alcohol or scratchers or whatever it is your vice is. Do not allow self-pity to become your fuel. Instead of saying, nobody ever supports me or my ideas, say, how can I figure out, how can I motivate myself? How can I support myself 100%? Instead of waiting for other people to tell me I'm doing a good job, I'm doing a great job, I need to keep going. How can I figure that out for me? The world doesn't owe you anything, but you owe yourself a lot. So don't sit here and say you deserve success if you haven't been consistent in your efforts, if you haven't been going above and beyond. You don't deserve anything if you've been half-assing. And you got to be real with yourself, because the only person you're hurting when you lie to yourself is you. Start reframing failure as a lesson, as an opportunity for you to grow. What can you do better next time? Take the feedback if it's offered, especially at your job when they're telling you we need you to do A, B, and C, and you're not, but you're expecting the promotion. Do not give away your pen. You write your own life story. No matter what you heard growing up from people, from friends, from foes, from your parents, they may have said negative things about you that may be ingrained. You have to reset your mind and say, I am, and whoever you want to be, that's what you need to implement. Just because someone else says you can't become this phenomenal person doesn't mean you can't. Take your small wins seriously, okay? If you did a few sit-ups today after not doing them for a long time, like myself, be glad and celebrate, because those little tiny wins are going to lead you to be victorious. You aren't God. You can't control outcomes, only your efforts. So if you know you've given it your full stanky foot effort and you still miss the bar, at least You gave it your all, and can't no one take that away from you. All you can do is press forward. It is not your fault if you studied your ass off and you didn't get an A, you got a B or a C. Give yourself some credit. Sometimes it's just not going to pan out the way you expected, but we still press forward. Stop waiting for that validation from outside to tell you, you know what, you are funny. You should be an actor. You know what, you could be a trainer. You actually should write that book. You need to tell yourself that. You need to figure out what you need to do. You need to say, I'm enough, I've been enough, and I'm always going to be enough. You don't need anyone to tell you are enough. You are enough. You need to decide today that you're enough and you're worth the fight. You need to decide, I'm the shit, I've been the shit, and I'm going to keep being the shit as long as I walk on this earth. Decide that and stand on that. And don't let anyone tell you anything differently. Choose to be the hero of your story and not the victim. And remember, in any superhero movie you've watched, they faced multiple setbacks and they still came out on the top. There have been times we thought they were going to die and they pulled through. That could be you. Persevere and just remember that you are in charge of your life. I would like to thank I'm just kidding. I want to thank my YouTube subscribers and people from all the other platforms that showed me support. You guys inspire me. If you like this video, make sure you thumbs up. And if you have any positive or negative feedback, drop it in the comment down below. But don't be a potty mouth. Just let me know how it is. It's nice to get constructive feedback. Bye.
Like and subscribe.